Dr. Satyendra Tyagi. He's our first speaker of the day. Dr. Tyagi describes himself. Can we have his CV, Yogendra? Can we have his CV on the screen?
Right, ma'am. Sharing.
Yeah, so Dr. Tyagi describes himself as a compulsive traveler, a writer of fiction, an unusual orator of subjects less spoken, and with significant work in the epidemiology of HCV in West UP and Uttarakhand. Seemingly fit as a 72 years old, he has dabbled in Bollywood with his first film releasing on 12th of May. As for the future, but first, one thing about his past, recent past. He recently visited Sardinia in Italy, which is actually a blue zone where most of the population is more than 90 and very active. And for the future, he hopes to do a free fall from a flying plane one day. You are truly inspirational, Dr. Tyagi. Such an amazing life and interests, and a full, satisfying national and international professional career. I welcome you once again. Your topic is retirement and life beyond medicine. Over to you, Dr. Tyagi.
Yeah, I'm trying to share my screen now. As the screen gets shared, it should have been shared by now. You see, while the topic that Dr. Nirja has said is long, I've just condensed it into a thing called Pause. I thought it would be a pun or a connection with menopause, but all I want is the gynecologist to take a little pause. And once they take a pause, they have at this phase, they can take a pause and decide on, I'm not able to change. I'm unable to change the slides from here.
You will have to do it from the screen. So you will have those slightly faded out. No, as you are.
No, I'm doing all right.
It's moving, sir.
Okay, now it's moving. Yes, now it's moving.
Yeah.
Okay, so why did I call this talk Pause? It is that time in our lives in gynecologists when they need to pause a while and look behind at what has been achieved. And more importantly, look ahead and plan their future. This not necessarily just for gynecologists, but for all of us in this profession, which demands so much from us all our lives and rarely gives us an opportunity to take time off to reflect back or to look ahead in the future. So when you pause and you look at what you have achieved and what you want to do in future, you'll come across two options, basically. The first option would be, I want to continue what I'm doing the way I'm doing it. The question, of course, would arise, but till when do you want to do it? So do you want to actually die in your surgical scrubs or not? But yes, this would be one of the options you will have, is to continue doing what you are, doing it the way you are doing it. The only question would be, till when would you be able to do it? And here, the two options would arise. Would you be forced to stop what you are doing, or would and I want to do what my commitment to my profession has denied me so far. But then the question would come, am I ready for it? Which basically means, have I planned my retirement? Do I look at retirement as something which is negative, or do I look at retirement as a next phase in my career, in my life, and I have planned for it and I'm going to enjoy it? So with these two questions, I move ahead. For those of you, and there would be many, 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 and why there would be many, I'm going to dwell on that. That I want to continue doing what I'm doing, but till when? We all know that as doctors, we never plan retirement. And as a matter of fact, we continue to work, and continue to work all the while. And the reason behind it is basically not having a life is what we look up to. We glorify noxious work culture. We just want to work. We actually take pleasure in the fact that we had a late lunch or a late dinner, even though we may crib about it. We'll go and see our patient halfway through our lunchtime, and we would actually encourage this noxious work culture. And our jobs can easily and most often become our entire entities. And this is precisely the reason why many of us do not have a second option of anything other than doing medicine and just medicine. And in some instances, the lack of hobbies, outside interests, seem to be a point of pride and an external indicator of an academic physician's commitment to his work. So if you have too many hobbies, etc., an academic physician or an academic doctor would find that if you have too many things that you are doing outside, you are actually not committed to the work that, to an academic work, to your professional work. So we actually take anything other than medicine as not being very comfortable. And the reason is just this. Well, in our own story is actually our own creation. And if you look at it, there are 3 A's in quest of excellence. And these are being able, being affable, and being available. Being able is the easiest, because it's the easiest to be perfect. You train yourself, you train well, and then you practice it. The more you practice it, the more able you get. So the easiest is to become able. Being affable, that means good-natured, is an effort, but over a period of time, as you mature, you become affable and you become likable. But being available is our pride and also our problem. And that precisely what should not be throughout your career, because there is life beyond what we have been doing so far. Your profession is not your personality, mind you. For many doctors, the work identity becomes synonymous with a personal identity. Many cannot imagine life without work. What will we do? Alzheimer's, we'll get dementia, we'll get bored. And there are, of course, studies which do say this, but it seems as though work and social position is determined by their entire entity, is determined by their work. What they have achieved at work is what they are. It is the only source of personal value and social connect. Social connect, mind. And I use the word social connect because we all know that WHO definition of health includes social well-being. And we believe that our social well-being lies in our identities as doctors. So the profession is not my personality, is what we should do. When everybody looks at you through your professional identity, you start losing perspective as a human being. And this is what Virat Kohli said after 48 days when he was not working, he was injured and he didn't play any cricket. And then people started talking only about cricket. Nobody knew what else he was doing and his perspective, and everybody was looking at him only as a cricketer. He realized that the perspective, his people looking at him as a human being, was being lost. So we do have an alliance with medicine. We do our best we can to be with it. But why give up something that's working so well? And that is why we continue to do what we are doing, and that is the first choice. But mind you, there's a negative aspect to it. An aging surgeon, we all have a part of work phenomena that we do. I'll just skip this busy slide. But there are studies which say, and the second slide, which is here at the bottom right, is an extremely important slide. This 2017 publication from BMJ, which says that the adjusted 3-day mortality rate as the doctor's age increases continues to steeply rise. We don't realize that actually. So the more we continue to stay into our professions, we actually might be very competent, but that is what we believe we are. And that is what the previous slide was saying, that the competence of what we perceive as our competence, as individuals, what we perceive, we are still very competent, we are very naive, we are capable of it, is a very subjective phenomenon. And there are studies which for shortage of time, I'm not going to quote. That's not true. When objectively assessed between the ages of 65 and beyond, they find that a lot of cognitive factors actually begin to deteriorate. And I've already shown you a BMG study which says that the mortality rates when compared to the younger people in the same unit and the same hospital were actually worse as you get older. So, just continuing with the lifestyle you're doing is not good enough. So retirement, it is inevitable, it is postponed, and we are underprepared. So there's no consensus whether the term retirement has a positive or a negative connotation. I, for one, believe that retirement has a positive connotation, but there are many who would believe that retirement is a negative connotation because it is taken as a sort of acceptance that you are now no longer perhaps fit to do what you have been trained to do and what you've been doing all your life. And retirement does not have to be sudden. It has to be a prepared retirement. You have to actually prepare yourself for retirement. So, believe me, nobody on his deathbed ever said, I wish I had spent more time in the office. Nobody. Most of them have said, I wish I had spent more time with my friends. I wish I had spent more time with my family, relaxed. I wish I had ticked off all the boxes from my bucket list. So the next sort of people who would be there would be the ones who say, I want to change and do what my commitment to my profession has denied me to change. So after those who have by now felt that, yes, it's too long, we've been working, we now want to change. Are you ready? And to be ready for your retirement, for the life beyond medicine, you primarily need two things. And I'm making it rather simplistic, but then at times being simplistic is a better option than to making it complex. So the first is good health, and the second is resources to do that. Because when you retire, you do not have that sort of an ongoing income that you have, and therefore you have to have both good health and you have to have good resources. So I'll first finish off in a few minutes about resources. Well, we are terrible. As doctors, we are terrible in planning resources. Firstly, we invest, and these are studies available, we invest too much in real estate. And having done that, that's fine. But huge amounts into one basket is not too good. On top of that, our busy schedule and time constraints, we don't have time, we don't have spare time to realign our investment. So most of the time, what we've invested continues to remain invested. We do not realign it according to what the market forces are. An improper investment is basically just tax planning. Most of our chartered accountants tell us how to minimize tax saving rather than saving for retirement. And one of the very important things is what we do is what is called as the doctor's lounge culture. When we are young, we don't think of retirement, and we should not be thinking at that moment of retirement, but we should be thinking of our commitments, of our social commitments, of the important expenses that are going to come. What happens actually in a doctor's lounge is that we all talk about our expenses. the big car that we spend, the big house that we are building, things like that. The actual idea is that we should be talking about savings. Nobody talks about savings when they are young. As a matter of fact, with the incomes rising, the point is that you should first plan your savings. From what is left after your savings, you have actually 3 major stops, major events in your life for which you need to save. And from what you have ultimately planned to save, what you have remaining. And because the salaries are very high, especially in the private sector these days, you should then go on and start planning your expenses. But we do exactly the opposite. And therefore, when we reach this juncture in our lives where we need to change, we need to stop our ongoing income, we find it rather difficult to accept it. Not difficult, it's not that we don't have the money, but we find it difficult to accept. So basically, you should monetize your movable investments at a particular phase in your life when you think that you now are going to think about retirement or going to give up your practice of medicine. And of the movable investments, you should move towards easy liquidity. These are simple words, and I'm sure each one of you know what monetization is. Sell your immovable properties and make your movable investments, that's your money, into what is liquid, which you can use when you need it, because things like health are going to be one of the major expenses that are going to come, and when you may need it, you never know. So liquidity basically means that within 24 hours or within a day, you can have as much money as you want from your savings. Now we come to the next part, as good health. Well, I wrote in my thing, I'm a compulsive traveler. I'm absolutely a compulsive traveler. I have done approximately 80 countries so far, visited them at least once. And I'm sure by the time I kick the bucket, I would have completed the bucket list of 100 countries and included myself in the Traveler Centurion Club, which is TCC, that defines actually how you do it. Well, as part of my travel bug, which has bitten me long back, I went to Sardinia, and Sardinia is a blue zone. There are 5 blue zones in this world, and a blue zone is defined where being 90 is a norm, and being 90 plus and being actively healthy, being very active, is a norm. For example, in Okinawa, Japan, and this is the most famous of all names, in this one village, you have 64 people who are centurions. In Sardinia, where I went and where the village, I have seen Okinawa. Sardinia in Italy, you also have about 50 people who are centurions. And then there is the island of Icaria in Greece. There is Nicoya in Costa Rica. I've visited all these countries, but not precisely this. And Loma Linda in United States. And they are all in good health. There's a very low degree of chronic illnesses, such as dementia, heart attack, and strokes that are present in this group of people. Of course, we know, and you know more than me, that the DNA is transferred, the DNA chromosome is transferred female to female. It's only the Y chromosome that's transferred by the males. And therefore, when they traced both of them, they did realize that in Sardinia, they also have the advantage of that gene called the DNA gene, the chromosome called the M26, which actually makes it more longevity. But what is basically their lifestyle, and this is common, but I'll dwell on it a little longer, because we need to be in good health if we want to enjoy old age. Well, they eat in Japan, there's a term, they use a Japanese term, they eat only till they are 80% full. Nobody ever says that I have eaten too much or I have done an excess. So overindulgence in food is not there. They relax more and they do something that they love. It's not that they are compelled to do something. You do what you love. So you choose what is my passion, and I'll tell you what passion is later. They say they praise very easily. So they have a sense of gratitude that they have reached 90. It is not an acceptance that we've reached 90. And they don't consider themselves old. The people we talked to, the husband of the lady who was teaching me how to cook pasta, was plus 90, and he was supposed to do the dishes after we'd finished our meal. They laugh. And this is extremely important. The moment I sat down, I told Yadav, you are not laughing, because I hate people who don't laugh. My card at one time had a tagline, I sell smiles for free. Then they are deeply connected to communities. That's absolutely important. You know, you must be committed to communities. Your social circles must be big. Even after you retire, you must get something, become involved in your community, because this gives you a very wide perspective of thought of other people or what they are going through. And you not only learn, and as you learn, your brain just does not seem to get demented when you are learning all the time. So one of the ways to actually ward off dementia is to learn a new language or to learn how to sing. Of course, I gave dementia to the teacher who came to teach me singing because I was so bad at singing. But then you can learn something else which would be good for you. So basically the blue zones, this is what their food patterns have been, but majority of them, you see, whole grains and vegetables is common everywhere. So they eat a lot of vegetables and they eat a lot of whole grains that they have. Of course, some of them are into fruits, and in Okinawa, they take a lot of sweet potatoes, and elsewhere they take, even in places like Greece and Japan, fish does not form a major part of their, it's a misconception. And in Sardinia, they said that we have a special wine, which we must have at 6 o'clock, in moderation, of course. So they have wine and they contribute their longevity partly to that. But if you see these three, this circle here, the three intertwining Venn diagram, if you see, well, they all have different lifestyles, but there are certain commonalities. What is common is in the middle. Family is very common. Social interactions are common. Smoking, no smoking, plant-heavy diet, constant moderate physical activity, social engagements in legumes. These are common just about everywhere in the blue zone. And we need to do that if we want to stay healthy for our retirement. So they also have a daily plan, a weekly plan, and a monthly plan. There's no point just planning your day-to-day meal. You must have a long-term plan for a good, healthy life. I have lost it, but I stopped, Windows closed. Okay, so I have to get back again, sorry. I'll get back to it quickly. All right. So basically that's one of the major requirements that you have for a good, healthy life is health. So, well, this is where I was in Sardinia. And in this group photograph, I know this old gentleman sitting, this gentleman sitting here is 90, doesn't look even 80 to me. This lady here is Retta, and she's been on Netflix series called Down to Earth. It's a long series called Down to Earth. Mrs. Chawla might recognize a lot of gastroenterologists because I'd taken 6 families with me and this Villetta taught us how to cook pasta, and whatever they cook is what they grow. And so, you know, they taught us from beginning to end, and we had to eat what we cooked. And here is me and my wife as chefs. So there's never a harm, there's life beyond. Learn something new, learn to cook pasta. And if you think that it's just a cliche, life beyond medicine, there are others in life who've done a lot. You know, nobody knows what the 1 mile record, 1500 meters record is in athletics. But if I ask majority of the youngsters who broke the first 4-minute mile, they'll say it was Roger Bannister. Well, he was a physician. And at the age of 15, 25, he had become famous. And the first time he ran his race in Olympics, he wasn't even on the finishing line. And he was criticized so much. Why doesn't he stick to just being a doctor? Why does he have to come this? Medicine is a profession that takes a lot out of you. But at the age of 25, he had broken what was unknown at that time to run 1 mile in less than 4 minutes. Incidentally, the record today is 3 minutes and 46 seconds. So people are only 15 seconds faster than him. It's not just people abroad who've done things beyond it. You can see Talimeran Au, he's from the Northeast. And he was the first Indian football captain who took the Indian team to captain the Indian team. And internationally, he was a captain of Mohun Bagan, and he led the Indian Olympic contingent in 1948. We all know Narottam Puri, an ENT specialist whose television commentaries were, absolutely fantastic. And when sitting in the studio, Dr. Puri would say, missing leg, hit the bat, did not make. People would believe him. The umpires would come with the result much later, but Narottam Puri would have already declared what it was. So these people who are physicians, who are doctors, they've made life beyond that. And incidentally, both Talimeran Au and Narottam Puri were ENT specialists. I don't know what ENT has probably they have more time than most to do things beyond. Well, not just in the field of sports, we know Sriram Lagu, we know Mohan Agashe, we know Palash Sen, and I've got a small picture of myself because my film is releasing on the 12th. So why not use this opportunity to tell you all that it's called A Winter Tale in Shimla. It's a full-length Bollywood film, which you might see in PVRs coming next on the 12th of this month. Well, you also have writers. A lot of people write books. Oxygen, one of the books which you may have read very importantly, is a practicing anesthesiologist. We have our own ex-PGI faculty, Upinder Kaul, who wrote a book, When the Heart Speaks. My own batchmate and PGI alumni here, he wrote a book called The Scalpel by Harbhajan Singh Risam. He was my batchmate. We have a gastroenterologist in Pune who does paintings, beautiful paintings, just as we have Dr. Scott Card, who's very famous in his paintings. Paintings sell for thousands of US dollars. I've already written, I write short stories, and I'm compiling them now into a book called Tales End. And you might have a book which you'll probably be forced to compile when I appear next and talk to you on the Menopause Society. I'll promote that book later. So, how does it go about it? So what do you do? Well, it's all between profession, passion, vocation, mission. So we need to define these things when we need to. If you see, this is life beyond medicine. The one on this side, the one orange is life beyond medicine. The blue is life within medicine. So if you are great at it, and if you are paid for it, that's your profession. Now, if you are paid for it and others need you for it, that's your vocation. And when others need it and you love it, that's your mission. Like somebody said, that one of the missions of the ladies here who's organizing this is to develop a different lifestyle. Why must we learn only medicine, keep on talking about menopause in every conference that we have? No, we must go beyond that, because menopause is a phase in life which defines many other things than just having to stop your periods. So, well, and when you love it, when the world needs, and when you love it and you are great at it, that is passion. So as a part of life beyond medicine, you have to move from your profession gradually to your vocation, develop a mission, and then ultimately follow your profession. So you do it for yourself, you do it for others, and then you do it despite yourself. That is what is life beyond medicine, and it's not difficult. As for me, I practice what I preach. I have done a 7-mile zip line in Costa Rica over the rainforest. This was about 900 meters above, and it was 7 miles long. It was raining. I was scared. I didn't really enjoy it, but I can brag about it. I went to Japan, one of the highest places. You don't see snow monkeys. They are the highest living mammals on earth. They come down to this warm pool where they take a bath. So I went there. I went in winter in 2019 in January 21st, which was the shortest day. We did not have daytime. And we drove snowmobile. I'd never even seen a snowmobile, and I drove it for 5 miles, went on in the Arctic Circle, and we went to a lake where we dug a hole and we fished, and we have soup from the fish that we took. I don't know how to swim. I know how to drown, but I went to kayaking in Halong Bay. This is the South China Sea, and as ladies, you would know, there are beautiful pearls that come from South China Sea. I went to the Amazon rainforest in Peru in 2015. We walked across all this. It was terrible. It was mushy. It was raining. I slipped and we hurt ourselves, but we carried on. And just at the beginning of this year, we planned and we went to the Everest Base Camp, which was 5,364 meters. So, well, there is life beyond medicine, and it's not cliche. It is not just us talking about things. It is possible. It is doable. Stay in good health. Keep good resources. Plan when you are young. Age is something which is not going to bypass you. It's going to catch up one day or the other. Better you do it by choice than by compulsion. There is more to life than just work. Don't get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nirja, for having invited me, giving me this opportunity to listen to myself. Because most of the speakers, they just love to listen to themselves. Thank you so much. And I hope I did make some sense, occasionally made you laugh, occasionally got you in awe of people who've done things beyond just doing their job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Tyagi. You used the correct word, awe. We are totally awestruck. We are totally inspired. We really actually need to do all this. You have actually taught us that we are looking after our mind. We need to look after our body and soul. So we have certain soul needs. We have to identify them. You are showing us a path. You are the inspiration for us. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I just want to say a few words, Nirja. Dr. Satyendra, that was really looking into yourself. I mean, we are actually talking medicine all the time, but this was looking into yourself. And I want that these thoughts should go across to a wider platform. And I promise to keep in touch with you that these things need to be taken up by as many people as we can. And thank you very much. It was very, very enlightening.
Thank you, Dr. Pushpa.
Nirja, with your permission, can I just
Yes, please.
Yeah. I mean, like Nirja said, it was mind-boggling, but I think the best part of the whole talk was the clarity of your mind. You put everything in the 20 minutes with such a clear vision as to what to do. And you know what? I had a very difficult competition now with you, because I was supposed to be talking on Ikigai at Menopause on May 23rd. And so most of the things that you spoke about is what I had in mind. I have to change my tune. And I was also planning to see the Northern Lights and see the architect this end of this year.
Ma'am, I have been thrice to see the Northern Lights and I've never seen them. And there are people who've gone for 2 days and seen them. 3 times I've gone to the Arctic Circle. I've been through Norway, I've been through Finland, and I missed it. This time, now the fourth time, I'm going to try it through possibly Iceland.
Yeah, so that's what, that is one statement I wanted to make, just like a transition, when you said planned retirement. So I was thinking, is there a blend between the two? Maybe we should have another talk, Nirja, where we talk about a blend, where you're not totally taking retirement, nor you're taking totally off.
That's what I'm doing, ma'am. I work half a day, and the rest of the half a day I spoil. And I would like you to, I'd like you to repeat. I'll call my wife, and you can repeat that I have clarity of mind. Yes. And how my mind is sort of sorted out, because she thinks I can't even keep two shirts at the right place at the right time. So she thinks I'm very cluttered.
No, I think I'll just make one comment, Satyendra. That was the wonderful, but that's what even I have been trying to do, to keep my balance between my medical practice, which I'm doing a little bit only, but doing more of the things which I want to do. And recently I performed on the stage by a dance academy where the kids from the 3 to 15 years age girls were performing. I told them I am the other spectrum of life, but then I will perform to give a message to all the parents that till the other spectrum of life, they have to keep healthy and keep going, and in a positive way, and contributing to society also. That is very important. That is all the women who come to me in the midlife, contribute to society, find a hobby, small little things which you can do for the society, and that's going to keep you really happy. And please involve me into one of your tours next time. I'm ready to go volunteer.
Yeah,
I'm in somewhere in late July. We are planning a trip to the North Pole. One goes via Finland, and then you take a small boat, and you get to the North Pole, and there you take an ice crusher, and you actually reach the magnetic North Pole.
This July.
This July or
this July will be too early.
Yeah, I think
one plans it that
I
way.
think
I plan it because I'll be coming back in June.
Yes,
I'll go.
So I think with the permission of everybody, we shall move on to the next talk, because the time is, because I feel that the time we have given to Dr. Tyagi is 1/10 of what he deserves. Sir, that was a real wonderful session, very, very inspirational. And I think
thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
You told us that there are no boundaries and there are no limits to what we can experience in life beyond medicine. And thank you for that. I think you have found ultimate joy in your travels, and you can see the reaction. All of us want to join you and experience that with you. So thank you very much, sir. And I'm sure Dr. Nirja, Dr. Arti, and of course, our dear President, Dr. Pushpa Sethi, will find another opportunity where we can interact with you. So with that,
thank you, ma'am.
We shall move on, sir.